Okay, what should I sing?
Amy Winehouse.
I don't know her.
Back to Black.
That's AC/DC.
What?
Back to Black is AC/DC.
It's also Amy Winehouse. See your generational difference coming in.
I wonder who came first, Amy Winehouse or AC/DC.
Sing AC/DC's version.
No, I could do him. You know, I mean, he sounds like he's on constant pollen.
Yeah,
I'm sure
he probably like snorts pollen
before the little line of yellow
before it shows. Yeah, has like yellow right under his nose and his cupid's
right. Hello, I'm here. I'm addicted to pollen. Well, what are we
have our
talk
voices
about
back
today?
though.
Yeah, we did.
So we've had a lot of things on our mind.
Yeah.
A lot of things. I mean, I think we both have felt a weird sense of peace and disappointment, or maybe peace within the disappointment we've experienced.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I am so accustomed to living in either an extremity of things that are hyper adrenaline producing and like hype, exciting, or the opposite end where it's chaos, stress. And I think, as for myself, finding myself in a place of neutrality where it's not one extreme, like either laughing or crying, which is what I jokingly say my slogan is a weird, because I almost don't know what to do with myself, but it also gives me time to think about things. And
so you mean being in the neutral place doesn't give you, it is uncomfortable?
Sometimes, because I'm so used to my life being in extremes, either really good, exciting, big things happening, or really, really south, and I can't keep my head above water. But
yeah,
I think.
Well, why don't you tell me, in general terms, what was it? Because we both had things we both talked about.
Yeah,
just in very general terms, what it was and how eventually you did find peace in that.
I mean, it's a lot of different things. I think what I've realized is mostly my expectations. I build these perfect ideations in my head, even outcomes that I think would be so grand, and they feel really great in my head, because I pre-plan how they would unfold, how I'll feel, things I think that I need. And when that doesn't come to fruition and I'm left with reality's cold, dark fate, even if it's not that bad, it could be something. It could even be something as simple as I woke up, I felt pretty, I did my makeup well, wore a dress I like, and no one says anything, which that sounds really conceited, but or you expect to have like a conversation with someone or certain encounters, certain things, and it doesn't happen.
Right.
Or you work really hard on something. It can be something big or small. You pour your blood, sweat, and tears into it.
Yeah.
And you do all of the small 1%, work hard, persevere, and then you don't get it. And that can be with small things or really big life events.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened to me. I was really excited about trying something. There was something offered that I get to participate in. Yeah. And so I worked real hard on it for 2 weeks. It wasn't coming easy, but it was coming, but I had to work for it. I mean, all things we have to work for, but there's those particular ones that are really even more tedious in their struggles. And so I'm pressing forward, and I make it past this first process, and all I just, at that time, I was given a new thing that I had to complete. And so I worked and I worked and I worked. And then one time I just remember, okay, what is really going to be the win for me in this? And it wasn't the winning. I realized I did this by talking again to your wise sage mother. And I said, I just want to get to this one place, the third round of this thing. And that to me will be a win. Just getting there. And not that it was winning and losing, but I just, for some reason, I wanted to get in that
That
spot.
one glimmer of hope that can give you hope for more things to come.
Yeah, and it was just a place I wanted to achieve. It wasn't, it wasn't a greed thing. It wasn't, it was just a place to reach. So it turns out, and I had prayed to God. I said, please, God, just, help me get to that. And it turned out, so it was a really crazy week of just doing all sorts of financial, paying attention to stuff, different things. And it was just one of those weeks. And plus, it is tax day.
Oh, gosh. Yay.
Monday, which, yeah. So in between this, I just open up the email, and there it is. And I'm like starting to read it, and I see that word, unfortunately.
Where your heart sinks. Oh,
and
God.
I didn't let it sink.
Well, that's
because I was in the middle of everything, but I was in the middle of a lot of things, and I just saw, unfortunately, I just went, okay. And I was happy. I was happy for the process. I was happy for having gotten where I did. I was happy, really joyful for the work that I did. And
you worked hard.
I worked hard, and the knowledge and the understanding and the wisdom that I gained, which was really wonderful. But so I was very, very excited for the people who were going to go up, and try this, proceed in this process. And that was in the middle of the day. And then at night, I found myself with this little nagging kind of, like I always talk about, this little nagging thing. I'm like, what is this? What is it? Was it all this financial stuff? Was it all that? And I went, oh, no, I need to say this. And so I just said, God, I need to say this. It was so cool and great. I was so happy that the Lord gave me a definite yes or no. I mean, it was just blank out. That was just, I had prayed.
And so much more accepting of unfortunate events than I would be.
Well, no, but it was good because I knew that I'd given it to the author and perfecter of my faith. Yeah.
And so you were holding it with open hands.
And I did. Mm-hmm. And I gave it to him, and I said, Lord, I would like to get to this place. And that was, I heard that word, unfortunately. And I'm like, okay, for some reason. And, our sage PA said, well, maybe there's something else waiting for you, Mom. Mm-hmm. And, but then I didn't even think about it that way. But I was just grateful that the door had closed. But I was really grateful to be able to say to God, I am grateful that you answered it. I just want you to know, and you know this, I'm just disappointed. I really wanted to go further. Mm. And it was just great to acknowledge it and just simply say I was disappointed. And it wasn't like I was disappointed in him, and I wasn't disappointed in me because I put the work in. I was just disappointed that it didn't go that way, but it was okay. It didn't break me. It didn't shatter me.
That's so
But it was so, there was so many things about it that was it was so much more life-giving than probably the actual project. So it was really neat. It was a really neat wrestling.
How did you come to a place of finding, or at least it sounds like, a deep peace within your heart while also being disappointed? Because I think it's really important to be able to feel things and not just negate and exile any negative emotion, but also to not ruminate. Ruminating can be really, I tend to ruminate in everything, and it's like doomsday. But I think that's really, I mean, how did you come to that place? Because I saw you working and you wanted it so badly. And like, I would be shattered and probably cry, among other
No, and it didn't come to that. And I think the thing is, I think the point here was I gave it to the Lord, and it was such a bona fide no. The word unfortunately means no.
When they try to make it sound all pretty, they like write all these good things and then put unfortunately, let's butter you up, and then reject you.
And I mean, it was a great project. But
do you want to name any names?
No, I don't. Kidding. I do not want to name any names. But it was, I think it was that. It was the fact that I had surrendered it, whether you're a believer or not. If you kind of surrender to the process, or you surrender to, God, which I did. I knew it was in his hands, and I knew wherever I was going to end up was, but I put in my 2 cents worth of work, and he would put in whatever he needed. And I just felt peace after. I think what was really peaceful was to be able to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you for the things I learned along the way, because I did. I learned a lot. But I also was able to say, I really do thank you for these, but I am still disappointed. And that was just being honest. And I think that was it. Just being honest gave me this sense of peace.
Like,
but not carrying it. Not carrying it. Yeah. But how do you stop the rumination? And tell me about your disappointment.
I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize until we were quite literally talking this morning that I realized we both had disappointing weeks in similar ways.
Yeah.
Because I do tend to ruminate in things because, like I said, I build these perfect ideations in my head of what the best reality could be. And when that doesn't come to fruition, I'm massively crushed. But this time something did change, and I felt the same peace in my heart.
That's great. Yeah.
Almost as you described, like I was disappointed by some things and how they turned out. A little angry too.
Yeah.
But also I came to this point and I told a couple different people, I said, I really saw this as God protecting both myself and somebody else within this situation. And it was it was something that was looking on the up and up. And so my heart was super open and I was very excited. And again, when doors start to open, I think it's natural for people to have hope and even build the ideation. I think everyone does that of, what could be? Right. And then when you find out the dark fairy tale plot twist.
Da-da-da-dum. We do that often.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Beethoven's Fifth, I feel like, is my anthem. The Cranberries and Dreams is your anthem. Mine is Beethoven's
Fifth. Mine is
Cranberries. It's like a dark Hallmark plot twist.
Yeah.
But that being said, I also have been this place where I really have been trying to listen to, I call it my Holy Spirit gut intuition, which sounds woo-woo and weird, but I do believe that when the Holy Spirit helps you to have a sound mind, it then helps you to determine things that could potentially be life-sucking and just to be able to discern things rather than, I think for me, my downfall is my curiosity with things. And I'm like, I'm so curious though. Let me just press in more and more and more and in different situations instead of really listening to that gut conviction of, okay, this has happened before and
red light,
be open-handed. Right. I know it sounds like a weird comparison with, even though we're keeping, our gory details minimized, but I was in this place ahead of time where I thought, okay, it was just this reminder of, okay, stay open-handed with all of this and also be warned. Be warned. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Oh, that's good. But even after everything fizzled out into the reality I did not expect, and I felt a little bit sad for a day or two. Not sad so much as, again, the whole disappointed feeling of, wow, what could have been and why did all of this happen? All these hopes, all these open doors, only for it to be a door closed and, two separate directions and finding out things you wish you did not.
But you mentioned emotion in there, anger.
Yeah. Yeah, I was angry. I was really angry.
Yes, and then you even, just from the story that you told me, you rather displayed it some. How did just acknowledging your emotion at that time help?
I think it was really helpful because there were other people I was talking to and who were within the situation. So my problem can be keeping things stuffed down inside. And it's funny because I'm very open with talking about things, but there's certain pieces of my life that I try to figure out on my own. And I would rather not seek wisdom from and think, no, I know better for this. You're just overly, these other people don't know me as well. But I felt so supported by just the people in my life and in this situation and this deep love from them. Yeah. And so that helped me even with my, I don't know if I call it holy righteous anger, to just make me feel better about my anger, where I feel like my head could blow off my face. But
what did the expressing of it help?
It did. I
in a
spill
healthy
my
way.
emotions.
In a
Talking
way.
things through really does
Yeah.
help. And people help you to see hindsight. When other people can see a situation objectively
Right.
versus it being in your shoes and basically reaffirm that it is good that doors are closed,
Right.
it's just helpful. And
Yeah.
as I start to see the underbelly of the matter and dig a little deeper into it and just some of the components that were that I wasn't aware of at first.
Yeah.
I had this moment where I just said, thank you, God, for protecting me. Thank you for protecting this other person. And thank God, truly, that every door was shut so that things never even had a chance to begin with. Because, life is a slippery slope.
And you've you've had a number of incidences like this.
Yes.
Enough where you had the warning bells going off. But, yeah.
Yep.
There's that scripture in Proverbs. It says something about man. I'm going to do a bad paraphrase. Man chooses the steps, but the Lord.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is that?
I know I would butcher it too, but I know exactly what you're.
So it's like, in other words, we do pick a path. We have to pick a path. We do. But God seems to know better.
Yeah. And usually I try and pry like the doors open when they're clearly shut because I'm so curious. I'm but this time I really did feel this deep peace in my heart, much like how you described I acknowledge the disappointment. And even today, someone checked in on me. They said, "Are you sad?" And I said, I wouldn't say sad. I'm just disappointed by my hopes and expectations. But I feel also very much like I can easily move forward and it's nothing that's going to shackle and chain my psyche to the ground. And
because your responses in the past to this similar situation have been quite dramatic. Brutal.
Very brutal.
Yeah, but that is also you can't discount those as over the top emotions. You were invested. You did have expectations. You did have hopes. You were led to feel that way, and you accepted. You chose to go down that road, which was, and it seemed like the doors were opening.
Yeah.
So, how do you do that? How do we do life and not let, not end up on the floor in a temper tantrum
like me in my dark room in the closet?
No. It's not even that. It is.
No, really.
I can calmly say that last week I handled that because I had prayed the Lord, or, if you don't believe in God, you follow the process and you do your best and blah, blah, blah. But that's not to say that next week I'm not going to be a messy puddle. Right. I think we're just weird as humans, and some days we just have to, I guess we do check ourselves. I don't know. Should I expect the same kind of response from me the rest of my life? I would love for that to happen, but I don't know if that's going to happen,
As in like a wholesome, open-handed, this is God's and not mine.
Yeah. And not go the route of rumination.
Yeah.
And
do you ruminate?
I do. And I don't even know it. I'm so sly and such a denier of things, and so somewhere else, I think, that I will carry things for far longer than I need to. And then
I feel that
it takes a while for me to feel that, what we call that check in the spirit, to go, oh, wow, this is really bothering me.
I think with ruminating too, at least for myself, and I think I could speak for a lot of other people, I think it can make you think of everything else that has been a loss, if that makes sense. At least for me. Maybe I can't speak for everybody else, but for myself, I tend to reflect and be overly emotional. I am very overly emotional. Yeah. I'm not outwardly so. No. I'm very introspective. So I'm a pretty, it sounds very snowflake-ish to say, oh my God, I function.
Say that again.
I'm a high-functioning snowflake.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, you're a HFS, high functioning
Yeah.
snowflake. I love that.
That's me.
Yeah.
No, I really do get so deep in my head because one small thing will make me think of everything else and remind me, oh, I'm failing at this, or I failed.
Right.
Moved to Los Angeles, didn't work out. Tried this marathon, didn't work out. And it almost sets this precedent of, well, anything I try that's going to be hard, I may as well not even do.
Yeah.
Because what's the point when it feels so good in my head and it's not going to happen? Which I've started changing the narrative to this year, and as a very false narrative, because like what you speak over yourself, you start to believe, you start to almost
and you're not talking about prosperity things.
No.
You're just talking about just the words, just the negative emotions that you
bring. How you start to live those out. Definitely not prosperity. Yeah. I don't have a mantra that
you don't do that. But I think what's fascinating about this is, so we keep this kind of collection going of our little pet failures. And so we kind of do bring them out, like, well, if this happened, and this is the conversation I had with somebody else who happened to be a relative of yours called your mother. And
Mama Laura,
I said to her, shout out. I literally said to her after this project, the unfortunate bit, I said, this is just a sign that, it's not a sign, I never would say that. I said, this is just, I just feel like things are going to start going average again, because I've had so much fun in the last couple of years.
Oh, like a plateau.
Yeah, I've hit my big moment, and this is now, it's just going to be a bunch of no's. The doors are just going to be slamming shut.
I feel that,
and whatever. And she goes, Renee. She goes, no, she says, Renee. She was saying, no. There is no scales. There aren't scales like that. There is no scales. There are no scales. But just because you have, what do they always say? Trouble comes in threes, and so everybody counts to three. But guess what? Sometimes they're four. And so the thing is I realize that once something is striking to us that doesn't go as we wanted it to go, we have this expectation that everything is going to. Okay, well, this is not going to happen, and this is, why am I even doing this? This is not going to happen, and I think you're right. I think we live in our past of this is the way that went down, and then we start even projecting in our future, saying, well, this is not going to happen.
Almost like creating a formula for it.
Yes, everything.
It could happen, but it might not.
No. But chances are, because this happened, then therefore that's not going to happen.
Right. And what I mean, I guess, by even the whole idea of, like, what you speak over yourself, you start to do, at least for myself, I'll start to see my life literally as that kind of formula, to the point I almost subconsciously welcome and find chaos or ways to, like, self-sabotage.
Yes.
And then blame my circumstances, my surroundings, when I really look at it and look at the hindsight, I think, well, I could have been wiser in these smaller choices or things. I think disappointment has a way, though, of building up its little tally marks in your mental file cabinets, or at least in mine, and making you think that, I mean, I could argue the same thing with, not to sound prosperity, but I do think there is something in a sort of way, not of positive self-talk. I don't necessarily go to that extreme, but I do believe that how you think, how you see the world, how you view even small actions and hard work says a lot with where you could go. It's not fortune and such is not guaranteed. It's not that saying magical words over yourself is going to, but it can help reframe your mentality, I think, in a lot of ways, and how you go about your day, and then how you're faithful with small things.
It's stewardship, as we've talked before.
Yeah, 100%.
But, what you're also going into is, I don't want to say truly successful people, but people, you'll read about them, people that do something that's different. Or, I mean, I don't want to just elevate, CEOs or actresses and actors or writers or something, but, people who overcome certain situations. The deal is they just don't give up.
Right. They're very resilient.
And well, they're not. I think they must feel these things. They must, or some of them might, but that's not going to stop them. They're not going to let that say, okay, therefore this is the reason. I mean, seriously, you look around, none of this would be possible if there hadn't been 100,000 failures, or Joe Rogan not liking this microphone.
Right.
But I mean, just to get to this place, how many things went wrong to get there?
Well, I think you can either let your failures and disappointments crush you or refine you and come back even stronger from them, which is hard when you're feeling them and, again, ruminating and them, which I think is okay for a period of time to grieve things, to feel disappointment, but to stay is sort of like saying, well, this is a chapter of my life and I'm going to continue to bask in disappointment, sadness, and sorrow like a chinchilla in its dust bath or something roll around in it. I say that because I am the chinchilla.
Oh,
I roll around in my dust bath
they
behind
used to
closed
make
doors.
fur coats out of chinchillas.
They used to what?
Make fur coats out of chinchillas.
Oh, I actually like chinchillas.
Yeah, they were like the hot fur coat in the 1950s.
I don't wear fur.
I know, I don't either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, we sound like PETA advocates.
Yes. Well, I really don't. I mean, it's just because I do like beef and chicken.
Yeah, I love to consume it, and protein source, but not
fashion.
Wear it. I don't wear animals as fashion, no.
I guess we would.
There's our statement towards humanity, humane efforts. Where's the Sarah McLachlan song?
That's right.
Where's Tink making her appearance? With dramatic slow music.
Do it there. Okay, so what were we talking about? Just disappointment. So
you can either let it refine you or you can let it completely crush you and give up and go in, well, I was about to say a dirty word, but you can go into screw it mode.
I'm glad you said that word instead of a dirty word.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Where
How do you
pick
back up, though? I mean, for you, okay, because like I've seen the work you've done over the years that not everyone sees. Like I think a lot of people don't realize how much people do when no one's watching. And I mean, I was here for 4 months in 2020 with you all, so
as we libreed,
could see the hard work. But I also know, even with your successes and all of the awards you've been up for recently.
Yes, I've had.
She smiles like
no, they're not multi. I mean, they've been very nice,
but it's still. I'm just stating the reality.
I still have to. I do have to go to a place out in California, and I have the chance of either getting a gold, a silver. I get to applaud. And so all of this was kind of like...
You said gold, silver, get to applaud?
Oh, yes.
If you have to applaud, how will you feel?
That's exactly what I asked myself after all this.
Yeah.
And then I realized it's just an honor to have even been chosen to do this. So, the way it is the way it's going to be. And
Heartbreak Warfare by John Mayer's coming to my brain. It's so bad.
I haven't sang that song in like never, but ever even heard it. But
it's a good.
I'm sorry, I will listen to it after post show. But no, I think the thing is, it's really true in all sorts of life that we have to realize there's, like you said, there is going to be, I don't know. I guess there's just, we have to find, what is it? What is the silver lining in every cloud? And otherwise, I think we would let the world crush us. And then I don't know about the idea of winning something all the time and having to be 100%. And if you don't, throwing, I mean, who hasn't seen the awful sports player who, when I played tennis against, as a teen, against some of the men in my hometown, and they were really, really good. I mean, they would throw royal fits, and we're talking about people in prestigious positions. I would look at them, and I'm thinking, as a 16-year-old, I'm like, okay, where's the beauty in trying to win this way? So I do think it really does matter how we go into everything, win, lose, or... I'm not saying for the participation award. I'm not saying that, but I do think it does matter. And I don't want to say be a good sport, but in a way it is being a good sport and just accepting things graciously, because I mean, I think maybe it does go to gratitude, because the fact that we're even allowed to do the things that we get to do, and we know that we dance with people, our instructors, and who have been taken from they had to flee their country. So for us to be upset about smaller things and know that they've had to leave. There's so many people in the world who've been displaced and had to leave, or so many people who are hurting out there. It seems a little weird to sometimes get over crazy about a work situation. Now, emotional situation is different. I don't know how to handle that.
But I think all of it's emotional in its own special way.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I think I think it is a choice ultimately how you let it affect you.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm very much going to loser mode very easily. I don't always let it show to everyone because I don't just break down and
cry. Do you remember the little Wii loser?
What?
When you would play Wii and then you would lose, and the little guy going like this.
No, that's what
Yeah. I'm sorry that that was
over your head.
That was a flashback.
Yeah. I think that you can to a lot of degrees actually choose with how you move forward from things. And I think if you had to be 100% good at everything all the time, that's completely unattainable. Yeah. And I think it's even failures more than triumphs that people connect with more in people's story. Like anytime you watch a documentary, a book, at least for myself, people are really drawn to human suffering and failure.
Well, the overcoming of it.
But it's like without the darker parts, the better ones wouldn't be so glorious. Comparing it to like crucifixion and resurrection, like beauty would not be so good and wouldn't
like spring wouldn't be so glorious without winter.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think, not that we have to exist in some crazy extreme, but I think even successes or fruition, it's so much sweeter and you savor it so much more when you've experienced where you've been. And I think it also connects you to other people because other people are trying these same things. Yeah. Everyone has their own story, but being able to connect to people in that same way of being able to, and I can say this from a place of so much healing from the last couple of years, especially from last year, where I was in a place at one point where I was both disappointed, struggling with just a lot of things in my life that had completely fallen apart. And I remember my prayer was, okay, God, if beauty can somehow come from this pain, like it's worth it. And if it can help somebody else, which sounds really shallow and almost uber simplistic, but
it actually sounds very bold and courageous.
Well, it's funny because this year there's been so many people who just in conversation have been in almost identical situations I was in last year, and to be able to be on the other side of it and tell someone else that not just are you going to be okay, because no one's guaranteed perfection on this side of the planet, but that there's always hope for chapter 2 to even our disappointments and our failures. I think you can use it as fuel too. Use it to crush you or use it as fuel to keep.
Well, but I think what Rose
keep
is saying
keeping on.
Which I love, you've made it a bigger thing. It's not just something that edifies your soul, but you actually go out and bless somebody else. You speak life to them and encouragement for them to move forward in this time.
Well, because if life's just about us at the end of the day, I think that's what we need to think about too, is the success all just for us. Because if you have that all at the end of the day, and it's just you, no one to...
You and your Oscar.
Right. Just you and your Oscar. I mean, everything loses its value eventually.
Yeah.
Every single
it all ends up in a box.
Thing. Yeah.
And you're giving it to your kids. And,
all very much finite.
Yeah, they find it when you're being buried and whatnot. And I hate to be gloomy, but it's true. Because I've dealt with a lot of boxes lately of things. So that's life-giving. I love that. The speak life thing. You're speaking life.
You have to.
I do want to say that our dear wonderful
cards?
Get out of here.
They're Christian tarot
No.
cards.
Oh yeah. So that makes it all good.
That makes it okay.
No,
I did sorcery
we
in
were
the
given
Bible,
orders
right?
by people from up high who do our editing.
Oh my gosh.
So
we're breaking the
I
disappointment
have no
with
idea.
a card game.
Okay, I'm this kind of mom that I always try to find things that encourage conversation. So this is, I don't even understand it. It's like the blank and there's these brackets around it. So I have no idea where I got this. But I'm like, like, I always liked, and we did this. Didn't we do this during 2020 when you spent?
We did.
Hey there, sweetie.
We do one
Yeah.
after dinner.
Because it
or
does
during dinner.
stimulate conversation.
It does. These are my favorite kinds
Yeah.
of games. I hate
Yeah.
big gatherings where people say game time. That's my cue to run and hide.
Yes.
And I hate games so very much. And
You
a dear
don't-
friend of ours
you
does too. I love these
Yeah.
types though.
But
I'm
you
shaking
don't
my
want
mic.
to fill out the form and get the baby names right and all that.
Oh my gosh. The
Okay.
things where it prods. Oh, I have to pick
Pick one.
first. Can I read
Yes.
it to you to answer first?
I don't know what it is. I forget how this is played,
Okay.
honestly. I forgot.
think-
Because 2022 was light years away. So you asked me the question.
I will ask you the
As
question.
long as it's clean. Yeah.
It's G-rated. Who do I remind you of and why?
Who do you remind me of?
I should be scared. Baby chair.
Well, I don't know if it's because you love her so, but you do remind me of Audrey Hepburn.
Me?
Yes. Very classically.
That
Yeah. And it was
makes
because
my soul quake.
well, and it was because of the I gotta keep my card out. Or you can use that on me. Because one I mean, I don't want to just call out that you have, her petiteness and her look, her vivacious look.
Well,
But you did wear the sunglasses dancing, which I loved. With ballroom dancing, it was really cool. But you also, when you spoke to me about her documentary, I never knew that about Audrey Hepburn, and that's very much like you. Like, you're always going to find the big picture. You're always going to lay down things for friends, like she did, like or life-giving things. Like she chose. Didn't she choose? She had to make some hard decisions, and I mean, she was a Hollywood star by that time. But she also had. So you had that, and then you also, and I know this is going to sound shallow, but it really isn't. You had this ability to walk in from work, and not that, like, she'll come. Anna Gray will stop by the house when we're going to do a podcast, and she'll walk in from her work. And then she has her own place. So I don't see how you normally do this, but you walk in from work and you'll have your Doc Martens on and you'll have a skirt on. And somehow you just pull this great look and you look classic. You look so classic. And so that's why you remind me of Audrey. You're just very classic looking.
I feel so very honored.
Yeah.
I love Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah, and you also look great in these kind of things. But
well, thank you.
But she also was she had a spark in her eye when she spoke, and you do too. And she had a fire in her being that it was sassy but strong and wise and understanding all at once, which is rare.
Wait, do you legit think this? Is this just for Morality's podcast? I'm just kidding.
I was paid to say this. No, I really
love
feel
Audrey
that.
Hepburn, though. That's
yes,
so,
I know,
wow,
but it
I
really
feel
very much. But it just dawned on me that's
wow.
what it is. Is she could have been a fierce woman. She could have
like
been
a sex bomb or someone,
or she could have just been fierce and just mean. Come off as that. But she always came off as very captivating, very wise, very curious. And you mentioned the word curious, and intrigued in life. And so those are the things that capture me.
That is, I pulled there's the T. I pulled just the right card then.
Yes.
That makes my soul.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much. Wow. I feel blushy.
Blushy.
Blush. I feel so I feel a little bit blushy, huh?
I thought you said blushy.
Blushy.
I'm blushy.
Blushy. Sounds like some words I learned last year. Wow. You should draw a Christian tarot card now.
Oh,
Now that
you cannot
no,
call
I
it
thank you. I
that.
receive your words, and I thank
Oh,
you.
well,
I'm
thank you.
awkward being complimented makes you feel very naked.
I think we all do feel that way.
But it's like I appreciate something, but I also want to hide.
Yes.
I only didn't cover my face because we have this rolling, but
yeah, that's interesting. That's another that's a podcast for another day.
Do you want to
accepting compliments?
Accepting compliments is,
but at the same time, accepting disappointments. It does really go along with disappointments. Is like accepting compliments. Do I read it?
You read it, and I'll answer.
Okay. Oh no.
Oh gosh.
What do you think my top 3 priorities right now are?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Good luck on that one. Can I redraw?
No.
No.
What do I think your top 3 priorities are right now?
Yeah.
I would say number 1. This is only based on our conversations today, but I would say is your inner holy peace. Because from our conversations and just how you've been describing your workload, how much you've been invested in things, and your nap on the patio earlier today, and also just with good boundaries in your life as your PA.
What she's explaining is my top priorities are I'm sucking. I can't say the word.
You can
because you use the screw word, but I'm really messing these areas up. Yeah.
So it's things you've learned from,
like boundaries.
I would say inner harmony.
Yeah.
It's very Enneagram. I can't remember. I'm not gonna even try.
Yeah.
Boundaries, and the third, I would say
boundaries. I have worked on that, and I'm still terrible.
It's okay. That's what your PA and I are here for. Even though I'm kind of learning this year too. I would say number 3.
Right. What was my number? So inner harmony, just being at peace with me.
at peace with things,
and then boundaries,
and this is just my. Your priorities could be completely different.
Yeah. No.
This is just this is just my objective opinion of you. Number 3 would be. I think your priority 2 is to. I don't know how I could encompass this in one word, but you do things that are very life-giving. So I would say you, like ballroom dancing, being out in the world, because your schedule isn't so insane that you're just doing, I mean, not like socializing every single day and ballroom dancing every single day. But I would say your priority 2 is a sense of lightheartedness, if that makes sense. I don't know. That's a weird. I think people think of priorities as very work related, because obviously I know you have.
True.
I know you have business related things, but I'm thinking more like introspective things.
Because we do love to laugh.
We do love to laugh, and
we found it very hard.
No, am I wrong? What would you say your priorities are?
No, like I really think that it was really you're right on the spot. So, now, do you think I'm battling my lightheartedness, or I'm letting it being weighted down by my disappointments?
You don't see.
Not even my disappointments.
No, I don't think so. I think by lightheartedness, it's that you're not even allowing the situation that you were talking about earlier to crush you down, and you're still doing life-giving things, because so many people hold themselves up, even if it could be something minor or something massive, and they just let that eat them alive. But just your attitude towards disappointment and failure, and even for today, I mean, what would you say your priorities are, though?
No,
your top 3.
I would definitely think the one thing that I was thinking is how to navigate in this world with people and love people well when just different things were going on in their lives, and how do I show love to them in the way that I should, and rather than the way that I think I need to do it, or
which kind of like saying yes or no kind
yes,
of thing,
yes,
right?
Yes. Or one of my biggest priorities in loving people well is speaking the truth in love, and I have a hard time speaking the truth a lot of times. And so that is definitely a priority.
What makes you
Yeah.
afraid to like speak the truth? Are you afraid of like people's reaction, or
I'm always afraid of bringing about a disconnect with people, and not because I'm like needy of them. I don't want them. I guess it could be people pleasing. It very well probably is, but it also feels like I don't want to be disconnected from them. And I don't want to lose people. Maybe it's an abandonment issue. In the sense of
that's deep.
I know that was huge. That just came out of my mouth, Hannah Gray.
Yeah, I know.
And I never made the connection until I just thought about it. So it could be that.
The deeper why it comes out of
yeah,
one way.
like I don't want them. I don't want them to leave me. I don't want to leave them either. There's a deep part of me that wants just everybody to get along, and no, but not even that. It's everyone to be together and love each other. I think this world is terribly divided, but it's just hard to navigate. It's hard to navigate, in my generation. It's hard to navigate in yours, I'm assuming, too. So I don't know. That was it. So I think we have to do something crazy, like let's sing a song or something. This card said, how would you describe true love? Okay, in 3 sentences or less.
Yes. I love how we're getting ready to end this.
Yes.
And
how do we describe
in my
love?
not so love life, I would describe true love.
True love.
Oh my gosh.
Remember Princess Bride? Love, true love. Okay.
Is that how you would describe it? That could be your answer.
You have to have the big. He was the priest or something that was going to marry them. I haven't seen that movie
in so long.
It's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
Yeah. But how would you true love?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's honestly a really terrible question to try and answer 3 sentences. How would you describe it?
How would I describe true love?
I don't know if
I would use the attributes that I use for God. It's faithfulness.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, what we call the fruits of the Spirit, but faithfulness, unconditional love, but also truth.
Yeah, honesty.
Yeah, honesty.
Yeah, I think it's very sacrificial too. I think people think love is only something that's warm and fuzzy or romantic. We almost over romanticize it.
Right.
But I mean, love also is very nitty gritty to me, and it also looks like you said, maybe saying no to something and standing up for other people and values. It's not just romantic or something sexual or some fleeting feeling. It's something that's long-suffering.
Yes, it is. And it's long-suffering in the right word. Mm-hmm. In other words, it's faithful and loyal.
It's there in the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. It really is better for worse.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're young and hot stack of pancakes, and when you're old and saggy.
And just saggy watermelons. Or apricots, depending on what you are. And you can cut that, but that actually is kind of funny, and most women will enjoy that.
You should keep it. Keep it, please.
So, but anyway, well, I think we're done. Our work here is done.
Wow.
And we watched the sun.
Do you feel disappointed in our podcast? That's my last question. I'm asking
and on that note, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you liked what you heard today. Even if you're disappointed.
And even if
you're only going to build us up.
Yes.
We're stronger than your hatred.
And we will also build you up in our great true love for you. Anything else?
No.